Are you ready? Hey, think you can tell us what to do?
Welcome, ladies and gents, to the most must-see podcast in wrestling history. Welcome to PWC, the review show for Friday Night Smackdown. And that's right, it is Smackdown. Once again, I'm your mother's favorite podcast of ours, and I'll be taking care of you guys for this review. Before we get into it, please click subscribe and notify, and we're going to get straight into the nitty-gritty of what possibly was a jam-packed Smackdown live. It was a fantastic Smackdown, in my opinion. It was great. I enjoyed it and made some history. The first time Smackdown emanated live from two different venues, albeit the second one not as great as Cleveland. We'll get to the Miami section in a bit, but welcome to the review. And let's not just stop. Let's just go straight into it. Kicking us off on Smackdown, it was John Cena. That's right, John Cena introduced us to another episode of Smackdown, and much like his promo on Raw, was straight to the point of Roman Reigns and how he's going to defeat him at SummerSlam, and offered the challenge yet again to Roman Reigns. And listen, the crowd were red hot in Cleveland. They were all for this. It's the first time that I've never heard Cena sucks chants when John Cena came out, which was fantastic to see. Look, John Cena, there's something SmackDown actually has, before I even continue, there's something SmackDown has that's far and beyond better than any other promotion right now, and I'll put money on this, is they have the best talkers in the industry right now. They've got the likes of John Cena, they have Edge, they have Seth Rollins, hell, they have Paul Heyman, even Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens. These are all fantastic people on a mic. Dolph Ziggler on a mic, if you just go watch his stuff from 2013 onwards. I mean, that man is so good on the microphone. One of my favorite promos of all time is him and The Miz, when you're saying that this is all he's got. That promo was probably one of my favorite promos, and that's the underratedness of Dolph Ziggler. And we'll get to him in a little bit. But yeah, they just have so many great talkers that when you have a promo on SmackDown, you know it's going to be 100% fire. I mean, let's not forget the women's division as well. I mean, Bayley is fantastic on the mic. Sasha Banks is also good on the mic. Even Carmella can get the crowd rallied and going, which is great to see. But no, we digress. Let's go back to John Cena issuing the challenge to Roman Reigns. And instead of Roman coming out to accept the challenge, we got Paul Heyman, his special counsel, and basically said, listen, you get Roman on Roman's time, and we'll see what he says later. And my favorite was the ending with Paul Heyman going, John Cena, boo, boo, doo, boo, 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 doo, boo, leaving the arena with that. A good little tongue-in-cheek from Paul Heyman. Yeah, good show, good opening, and that brought us into the first match of the night. And it was just a good way to open up SmackDown, set the tone perfectly for what was to come from a red-hot Cleveland crowd. And the red-hot Cleveland crowd did not disappoint when we had Finn Balor taking on Sami Zayn in the first match of the night, and taking off from where they ended last week. Sami Zayn was out there to just tell us about how the government, or how the wrestling organization has destroyed him and taken away all his opportunities, and how he should have been in Money in the Bank. And then we had Finn Balor come out and attack him. That's right, the match itself, though, was fantastic. Back and forth action, some decent little spots for a TV episode. And in the end, the coup de grace was just too strong for Sami Zayn to kick out of. It was a touch and go for a second there. I thought after that Blue Thunderbomb, Michinoku driver, let's not forget, Pat McAfee pointed out how much flack Michael Cole gets for calling it a Blue Powerbomb when it's actually a Michinoku driver. But anyway, that was a good little tongue-in-cheek from Pat McAfee and Michael Cole. We thought it might be that way, but of course Finn Balor and the Balor Club fight on. and picked up the victory over Sami Zayn. We then had a little backstage segment, Caleb Braxton talking about Baron Corbin, and I interviewed Baron Corbin, actually asking him what's it like, how much did his money, his the Corbin Fund, that's what it was called, Corbin Fund, how much money that brought in, and well, Corbin came out and said he lost money on that. The guy that built the website ghosted him and stole all his credit, stole his identity, and unfortunately he had to ride the bus today, which smelt of gym socks. Poor Baron Corbin. But let's not dwell on Baron Corbin. We move back into the ring where we had Mr. Money in the Bank. That's right. You want to go big? Time to go big. Woo! It is. Mr. Money in the Bank himself, Big E, came out to a thunderous applause of "You deserve this." In fact, it took him 2 minutes before he could actually say a single word. And yeah, Big E was on cloud 9. Before he could say anything, though, we had Apollo Crews, the Nigerian prince, with Commander Aziz, to congratulate Big E and to remind him that that's just a contract and he doesn't have a championship like his IC title. While he was walking down the ring, we had Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode come in and say, if you're talking about the Intercontinental title, you should be talking about Mr. And then before he could say anything, we had King Nakamura enter the fray without saying a single word. Cesaro came down as well and said, listen, I think it's time to put a swing on the IC title. Every man declaring he's right for the IC title. A brawl broke out, which ended with a double spin to a Apollo Crews, but Aziz made the save. And in the ring stood Big E, King Nakamura, and of course Cesaro, while the heels retreated from that. A good live segment. The crowd were behind this, and it sets up the IC title contention quite a bit. WWE love doing this, giving the Money in the Bank briefcase holder an opportunity at the IC title before pushing him on to the main event title. And I'm interested to see which of these faces get an opportunity at Apollo Crews. I don't see the likes of Dolph Ziggler or Bobby Roode coming in there. I think they just added him to add a multi-man situation for SummerSlam. What type of match is going to be at SummerSlam is to be determined. I'm guessing like a fatal 5-way. I'm guessing Apollo. I'm guessing Robert Roode. Maybe Dolph Ziggler instead of Robert Roode. One of the two. I'm guessing Nakamura. I'm guessing Cesaro. And I'm guessing Big E. Maybe a fatal 5-way. Maybe they throw Aziz in there and get a fatal 6-way. Who knows? I'm not sure how they're planning on doing this one. But it seems like they're stacking the IC title. I'm surprised Sami Zayn wasn't thrown in that as well. He has been sort of the centerpiece of the IC title in recent weeks or months. But let's see how that one pans out. We then moved to our second venue for the night. It was at Miami. It was the Rolling Loud Tour, the largest hip-hop tour of concert rather in US history. And we were reminded about that a couple of times. And we had 2 matches emanate live from Miami. And as hot as the Cleveland crowd were, these hip-hop goers for concerts just weren't interested in wrestling, let's be honest. I didn't see how this was actually going to work, to be honest. I get hip-hop and wrestling and WWE have a good thing. I mean, Wale was the host for this one, and he performs Big E's song. He's was the host of the rap battle from New Day and Usos, and he's been involved a lot in WWE, even did commentary once for a bit for them, was a guest Raw, so he's done a lot, I get that, but as much as you want to try and push Wale is not a giant in the hip-hop industry currently. And yeah, we had the first match, which was Angelo Dawkins taking on Chad Gable rather, with Otis at ringside and Montez Ford. The opening was great because, Street Profits got the hip-hop vibes going. The match itself was a decent match. I mean, if it was in front of Cleveland crowd, it probably would have gotten a couple of pops. But unfortunately, the hip-hop guys just didn't want to see it. It was, again, it felt very disjointed. It felt like it shouldn't have been at Miami, this match. I think they could have maybe just stuck to one match there rather than have a double header with the women's title coming up later. But Angela Dawkins picked up the victory and setting up this rivalry continuing with the Street Profits and the Alpha Academy. Nothing much more to say about this match. I felt like the crowd really took away from what this match was supposed to be. Moved on to our second match, taking place from the music festival in Miami. And that was for the Women's Smackdown Championship. And it was Bianca Belair, the champion, taking on the most beautiful woman in all of WWE, Carmella. And you know what? It was a good match. It was probably, in my opinion, in-ring aspect, was a lot better than their Money in the Bank match. Carmella looked a little bit more fluid, a little bit more energetic in this match. So did Bianca Belair. It's the best I've seen Bianca Belair in a while. And unfortunately for them, they had a crowd who was more interested in Cardi B for some reason than actual wrestling. I wonder why they're interested in a random hip-hop artist than wrestling at a hip-hop concert. Yeah, look, it was unfair to the girls there. I mean, they put on a hell of a match, and unfortunately, the crowd just weren't in it, and they weren't excited about having Bianca Belair and Carmella face off in a ring, which half of them can't even see properly because it's a stage. Let's be honest. It's not an arena, and it's just those guys are not wrestling fans, or some of them might be wrestling fans, but they're there to see Cardi B, Rick Ross, A$AP Rocky, those type of people. They're not there to see Carmella. Let's be honest about this. And again, good match. Unfortunately, the crowd just didn't respond to the good match. We then got a backstage segment. We went back to Cleveland, and we saw Shotzi and Knox busy fixing her tank. Apparently, Shotzi's tank was a bit broken, and Kevin Owens was helping them. He said, use this thingy to bang that thingy, which is the best line when it ever comes to fixing anything in WWE. We then saw Baron Corbin sitting backstage, and Kevin Owens went to go chat to him and said, listen, is that the same shirt you're wearing? I mean, the stains are in the exact same. He says, I had to eat spaghetti out of a can. And he wants to apologize to Kevin Owens for being such an ass the whole entire time. Kevin Owens said, well, this is what you get for being such an, idiot towards everybody. But he did feel sorry for him and landed up giving him $40 to say, listen, use this money, help yourself, get through what you need to get through. It was nice. And then accidentally, Shotzi shot off her cannon rocket and hit him in the nuts. He then knocked out, and the Dirty Dogs then robbed him of his $40 that he earned. Kevin Owens did try and make a save, but it was a little bit too late in that backstage segment, which I thought was a fun little segment, and it kind of teases a Baron Corbin turn, maybe becoming a little bit more of a face and joining Kevin Owens. The two have been interacting quite a bit. Let's see how that goes. Maybe he gets money again and then he turns a heel again. In the ring, we got introduced to Mr. Rated R Superstar Edge, coming out and having a quick promo about how Seth Rollins ruined his opportunity to be a Universal Champion and how he underestimated Seth Rollins. He said he had the mysterious predicament from the Usos, which helped, but he didn't think Seth Rollins would have, risked his opportunity. He expected him to attack Roman Reigns instead because Edge would have been a better challenger for him, which he wouldn't. So it was a good little promo to set up what eventually will be a SummerSlam match. Seth Rollins came out to the ring in all his smug and glory and told Edge, listen, we're not even on the same level. You're an old man, and what I should have done a couple of years ago, I should have put you out of your misery. I should have pulled the trigger, but I hesitated. And, a brawl ended everything out there. They took each other a couple of shots, and there was a bit of a tussle, and Edge stood tall in the end, which means we've got to get this match at some point. And I'm liking the fact that Edge isn't coming back as a part-timer for the big events. Hopefully we get to see a lot more Edge moving up forward. I know he had a couple of injuries, which is why we saw him sporadically, but it's nice to see the Rated R superstar, back in the ring. We then moved back into the ring and we had the Usos, or one of the Usos rather, Jimmy Uso taking on one of the Mysterios in Dominic. And we had a one-on-one match with, of course, Ray and Jay at ringside. Listen, this was a fun match. I think Dominic has come strides, and very quickly has come strides. I mean, do you think he had his first performance in front of a live crowd last week? And now this is his third one, and he hasn't missed a single beat. It's been fantastic to watch as well. And I think a lot of the people maybe doubted Dominic a little bit in the beginning, you know, giving the monster push that he had at the start and getting feuds with Brock Lesnar and all the big oaks there. But he's come around. He's come nicely around. And this match itself proved to me that Dominic can handle the spotlight by himself. He doesn't need his dad, Ray, to help him. It's nice to have the father-son dynamic there, though. So that's always good. They picked up the fashion. Jimmy picked up the fashion in the same way they did at Money in the Bank with the help of his brother by putting his feet on his back and keeping him up. And yeah, another victory for the Usos. Obviously, it's going to annoy the Mysterios. And I think we're going to get that rematch at SummerSlam. And all in all, that was the whole of SmackDown Live on Friday night. And yeah, man, I enjoyed the SmackDown. Like I said, the Miami portions, well, I think the crowd let them down. The matches itself were okay. I'm not a big fan of the Otis Dawkins match. It was alright. But the Bianca Belair and Carmella match was good again. The live crowd just sucked the energy out of that one. However, the Cleveland stuff, there was nothing bad about the show. It was just a solid, good SmackDown. From all the promo work to all the matches, I think everybody pulled in together. And you can feel the live crowd happening in WWE's boosting what they need to be boosted. We get to the first go for Friday Night SmackDown. And like I said, a good show all in all, except for the Miami bit. And that brings it down to a 7.5. I think if that Miami stuff was in Cleveland, I think we would have had a better response and maybe push it up to about an 8.5. But unfortunately, hip-hop, live concerts, and wrestling don't mix unless you're a download festival and you have NXT guys with a whole bunch of angry British people. Then it will mix well, and it did very well at Download Fest London. The NXT UK guys were there mainly, and I mean, they're going to love that shit. I can't say that. They're going to love that. But with that being said, we wrap up this review. Please, guys, check our other videos up. We've got a whole bunch of stuff. We've got Rumor Mills. We've got the Major Players Talks. If you haven't, guys, watched that, please go and give us a watch and a thumbs up on our videos. It helps with the algorithm so it gets more people watching and we can get our voices out there on PWC. From me, though, your mother's favorite quizmaster. From me, though, your mother's favorite podcast of ours. I'll check you guys again next time. Peace and chicken grease.